Hello everybody, and welcome to the Teambuilder video of week 2 of my draft league versus Record Man and the Sleeping Snorlax. So he has a team of Bulu, Melodic, Tyrantrum, Porygon 2, Mismagius, Electabuzz, Aggron, Reuniclus, Bisharp, Heliolisk, and Blissey. So the team I ended up bringing is this team of Metagross, Lopunny, Crocodile, Zygarde, Zapdos, and Shaman. So, Metagross is here solely for Bulu to be a check solely for Bulu. Bulu is an incredibly powerful Pokemon that can get really out of hand if it doesn't have a dedicated check, and my dedicated check will be Metagross. Bulu does not have a single move that hits Metagross super effective on the physical side, which is really the only side that matters. Metagross versus Tapu Bulu, we'll say Choice Band because that's worst case scenario. Wood Hammer does do quite a bit, but you do have to keep in mind that when I'm switching in, I will always be under grassy terrain plus my leftovers I have, which will be giving me a free 15% every turn. So a lot of his damage he's doing is negated, and to do a significant amount of damage to me, he either has to take recoil from Wood Hammer, which will be willing him, or he has to and as you can see, putting him into Meteor Mash range, or he has to just not have that high of an output. He does have access to both Superpower and Mega Horn, which do also do a sizable amount of damage, but those have their own drawbacks. And once again, with the leftover recovery, it's not going to end up doing that much. Most of the damage he's doing is going to be mitigated, and it's also important to remember that I'll switch in. I'll take the damage he does, but then I'll get the 15 back that turn, and then he should be forced out that turn. Either that or he's gonna let his Bulu die, which is not a great idea. So I force him out and then get another 15 back at the end of that turn. He gets forced out, which means I should be getting about 30 back every single time, which negates most of the damage he'll be doing. So yeah, that's the idea there. I have Meteor Mash to hit Bulu pretty hard. Meteor Mash into Bullet Punch almost always kills. Especially after a Wood Hammer. Bullet Punch is great priority against his team because he has a lot of steel weaks, and it's great for hitting Bulu because I'm not trying to outspeed Bulu. I'm trying to take his hits better. Hammer Arm is just for hitting Bisharp and his super fat normals better, as well as Mega Aggron. And Toxic is just for poisoning whatever his switch in is. If I feel that after multiple times I feel that he's going to definitely switch his Bulu out, then I can let a Toxic go and poison his switch in. So yeah, that's the Metagross is meant to check Bulu throughout the game, keep it in check, and do some, either kill the Bulu or start putting in work against his switch-ins. He does have good switch-ins in the Metagross, but all of his switch-ins in the Metagross are things that I usually can deal with pretty well. So next is my Lopunny. My Lopunny is Adamant Max Attack, and then 262 speed. This is just fast enough to outspeed +1 Adamant Tyrantrum. I wanted to outspeed +1 Jolly Tyrantrum, but to do that I had to sacrifice being Adamant, and I really want to be Adamant, so we went with this, so that I could, and just outspeeding Adamant Tyrantrum, not Jolly. This is meant to come in on his super fat normals, Blissey and Porygon 2, and always beat them one-on-one, beat the hell out of them. So, return is just good stab in general, especially if I think they're going to switch out, or if they do switch out, especially into things like Bulu, which resist fight. Then I can hit them with this, with return if they're in range. Power Up Punch is here to, if he's tries to recover stall me with either, probably more likely Porygon 2, and if Porygon 2 doesn't do, I'll pull up the calcs. But where's his Porygon 2? Max defense. Yeah, Drain Punch isn't doing quite enough to take him out, so Power Up Punch gives me the opportunity to both set up on them and begin doing some serious damage to them. Drain Punch is here to get health back on a super fat normals while at the same time doing damage. Especially against Blissey, because Blissey's just a punching bag full of HP. Actually, a little curious about this. Blissey. Special wall. And do 70 to 80 and you recover more. When you hit Blissey with a Drain Punch, you recover more HP than percentage you're doing. It's ridiculous. And then Heal Bell is here, just so that I don't get Toxic or Thunder Waved by Blissey or Porygon 2, and so I can continue to one-on-one them. So yeah, that's what it's there for. It has a fantastic matchup against his team. Almost nothing he has switches into it well. Maybe like Marvel Scale Melodic, but even then that doesn't take it great, and I have good answers to it. Reuniclus can, but it's generally a win condition. You don't want to be switching that in on things. Yeah, nothing in, like Bulu can switch in a few times, but you really don't want your Bulu getting damaged either. So yeah. Lopunny has a great matchup and should be destroying his Fat Normals. His Fat Normals always are a free invitation to Lopunny to come in. So next is my Crocodile. So this is banded, and this is meant for taking on his Reuniclus and his Mismagius. Got max attack, adamant band with a fair amount of speed F. 80 speed, this is enough to outspeed adamant Bisharp. That's just the most amount of speed I was willing to invest, because this thing is a good answer to Bisharp if I do ever need it for that. After watching a lot of replays of what my opponent does, he has a serious liking for Calm Mind setup sweepers. Like in another league, for replays of his I was watching, he had a Calm Mind Cresselia that he brought to legitimately every single matchup I found of him, and just tried to set up with Calm Mind every single time. And it actually worked the first time, and it never worked again, because I think people caught on. But yeah, this will be my stop to his Reuniclus setup, which he did try and set up with Calm Mind last week. It did not work, but this will be what I have to make sure it stops. Knockoff always kills this thing. Max defense has a minute chance to live. Well, 12.5%. That's not minute, but it's very unlikely that it'll ever live a knockoff, especially if he decides to invest in anything but HP and defense. So yeah, so long as Crocodile is alive, I will never lose to Reuniclus. Or, I mean, even then, he would have to Focus Blast this turn, and then I should always have something faster than Reuniclus, so he shouldn't get a chance to recover, and he'll be at 1 HP, so it's not that big a deal. So, oh yeah, this is also for taking on his Mismagius. So Mismagius, with the Choice Band, Mismagius always dies to Pursuit, meaning that it's not a 50-50. When it comes in, I click Pursuit. I mean, max HP has a chance to live. It's in my favor, and no one runs max HP Mismagius. But it always lives Shadow Ball into Dazzle. The only problem is this is a Z move user, so if he goes Shadow Ball into Z Dazzle, then we have a problem. I might have to scout for that because I cannot let Crocodile die because I might lose to Reuniclus. But with this, Pursuit is never a 50-50. It's just I go in and I click it, he switches out, he dies, he stays in, he dies. So yeah, that's what this is for. It forces Mismagius to die no matter what, unless it's Z Dazzle, or if he dazzles on the switch and I come in, which he shouldn't. But if he does, then it's a roll in his favor to kill me. But then I'll probably switch out at that point anyways. Fire Fang is here just so I'm not completely walled by Bulu, in case I need to come in and take that thing on at any point. And I'm always faster than Bulu, I think, actually. Actually, I might not be. I think I actually have to check that. But my next thing is Zygarde. Zygarde is for his Tyrantrum. And the thing is with Tyrantrum, my team does not have very many good rock resist at all. There's Metagross, which actually does a very fine job of taking. I wouldn't say fine because it gets Earthquaked, and it does not take that well. But my Metagross is my check to Bulu, and I cannot let my Metagross take damage from any other sources than Bulu because I need to keep it healthy for Bulu at all times to make sure I don't begin having to sack things to Bulu constantly. So I cannot be switching my Metagross in on Tyrantrum. So instead I have to have my Zygarde, because that's my only thing that can take a head smash. reliably. So, I'll pull up the calc for this. Zygarde versus Tyrantrum. If it's banded adamant, I come in. I'm always faster. I have a good amount of defense investment, max attack, and I'm always faster than adamant Tyrantrum. So if he's banded adamant, I come in. I can eat any move he goes for at all, and then kill back with outrage, assuming no HP investment. I always kill back. If he does invest in HP, I can't always kill, but I do always put him into bullet punch range for Metagross. So, in this option, for band, it takes down pretty well. Second option is if he's Dragon Dance, which effectively turns him into a band, except I'm not faster than the next turn. Even then, Head Smash does not do it kill. Outrage, I will be at full health when I come in. Outrage does not kill in one hit. Earthquake, nothing kills in one hit. And I can always outrage him back. And if he's a Dragon Dance set, then he's going to be at running some speed. So Dragon Dance or outrage should always kill back. So, this thing does a great job of taking on Tyrantrum. There's almost no way I can lose to the Tyrantrum, except for two cases. He's Jolly Banded and outrages on the switch in, which is not good. If he does do that, I'll have to calc for that and see if he is. Actually, is there an overlap? 62 to 73 versus Jolly. Okay, if it does somewhere between 62 and 67, then I'm forced to assume it's Jolly. But otherwise, I can assume he's adamant. If it does higher, and then kill back. But oops. So if he's Jolly outrage and or if he's Jolly and then Jolly Bandit outrages on the switch, then Zygarde will lose to this one-on-one because it cannot outspeed the next turn and will die to the second outrage. Or if he decides to run the coverage of Outrage, Earthquake, and Ice Fang, which makes no sense to do. But if he does, Jolly will never kill me, but Adamant is a roll. So this is mainly if he Dragon Dances and he's Adamant, then it's a roll in my favor to live, but he can kill me with the Ice Fang. So I do have to be aware of that. There's really not much I can do about it if he does decide to run this coverage. It does not make sense because Outrage exists and it's stab and hits Zygarde anyway, so I really don't think he should run this, but if he does, that's a problem. Next is my Zapdos. This is for taking on his Bisharp and his Aggron. It's fast enough to outspeed Bisharp no matter what. It comes in on Bisharp. I'll pull this up. Zapdos versus Bisharp. So comes in on Bisharp no matter what, and assuming, actually I think even with Rocks Up it always kills. So let's say worst case scenario say he comes in, I come in on his Swords Dancing gets to +2. Worst he can do is 61 to 72. Even after Rocks, it's not killing me, and then I can set up my Reflect on the turn that he attacks. So in actuality, he would only end up doing this much damage, and I can just begin to roost it off and start killing him back with Heat Wave. Same thing with Aggron. I'll slowly kill him with Heat Wave. It doesn't do very much, but I'll kill him eventually. I also have the chance to static both of them, which is also nice. But after I put up my Reflect, I can easily one-on-one both of them. I'd say absolute worst case scenario. I switch in on his... he also can never Sucker Punch me because I'll be reflecting and roosting until it's safe. So Sucker Punch will never get the priority off. Worst case scenario, I switch in as he's SDs, and this is one of his Z movers. So I switch on that, and then he Z-Suckers that turn. But if he Z-Suckers that turn, I will have put up my Reflect. Oops, I highlighted. I will have put up my Reflect, and that doesn't kill even if he's Adamant under Rocks, after Rocks. So this thing will always beat Bisharp. So that's good. Actually, yeah, no, this thing always beats Bisharp. So, oh yeah, and against Aggron, calcs are pretty much the same, except like less impressive. Actually, he did run a max attack Aggron last week, which is pretty whack. No HP, no speed F, max attack, and I want to say it was probably max attack, max defense. Probably is the only thing that made sense because it definitely didn't have any HP or speed F last week. And Stone Edge from that thing never kills. And the turn I come in, even if he gets the prediction and on the turn, then I just reflect next turn, and 60 plus 30 is not a kill. And no matter what, I can just reflect and then roost it off and then begin chipping it down. So there's no way for me to lose to Aggron or Bisharp without the assistance of Hax. My last member is my Life Orb max special attack modest Shaman. Now Shaman's just great this matchup because it has a fantastic speed tier, and grass, ground, poison coverage rips through his team. So this is just for recovery, and this is also my melodic check. It does a great job against melodic. Even I'll pull up these calcs too, because I've done everyone else. I'm aware it learns Ice Beam, but like, let's say max special attack Ice Beam, I'm pretty sure only does like 50. Ice Beam, yeah. And I can easily just synthesis that off and then threaten with a Seed Flare. And if he's max special attack, then that means he's probably not max special defense as well as HP, which means this Seed Flare damage is about accurate, which means I can actually always kill him with a Seed Flare if he's actually doing that much with Ice Beam. And if it's not, then I can synthesis it off fine. Life Orb just allows for higher damage output. And like, look at his team. Poison absolutely destroys Bulu. I'll pull that calc up too. Against Bulu. Poison always kills if he's not. And also, there's no move he could kill me with. Especially because, like, this is max damage if he's Scarf and actually outspeeds me. Then it's still not even a problem. What the fuck? If he's max HP, it's a roll for me to kill. But heavily in my favor with HP Poison. He could be Assault Vest, but, like, that just makes him lose really hard to Metagross. But yeah. The HP Poison hits as hard, Grass hits as hard, Grass hits as hard. Porygon 2, Blissey are really the only things that wall it. And those are both invitations for Lopunny to come in and just start destroying his team. Mega Aggron can also take a hit. I mean, he could run that no speed F, no HP Mega Aggron from last week. Like, it takes 42 to 50 from Earth Power, so it takes it pretty well. Even fully invested, but like if he runs that weird set again, then he's taking like 68 to 80, and that's not a good look for him. So yeah, this is also probably going to be my primary switch into his Heliolisk, just because I really don't have anything that switches into it well. Maybe I'll bring in Zygarde against it, especially if he doesn't have Tyrantrum on his team. But yeah, Metagross is here for the Bulu. This is here for his super fat normals, Blissey and Porygon 2. This is here for Mismagius and Reuniclus. This is here for Tyrantrum and getting chip on other things, taking hits, taking on Bisharp if it needs to. Also, there's Iron Tail for Bulu. And priority with extreme speed is always good as well. Zapdos is there for the Aggron and the Bisharp. Also, it has a Defog. Bisharp and his and Aggron, especially Aggron, are really likely rockers, and the fact they can beat his rockers one-on-one is also fantastic. And Shaman's speed tier is great, and it just has a good matchup in general. So yeah, and the coverage is great. So I think I should be able to win with this team, and I feel I did go through a lot of different variations with this team of what I wanted to bring, and this is the one I've decided to finally settle on. I feel like I have good checks for everything that he could bring, and outs even if he manages to hacks or bring certain sets, especially in the case of Zygarde, that somehow break through my checks. And my offense does not have very many good answers from him, but I do think we should be able to win this battle with this team, and I feel pretty confident about it. And stay tuned for the battle, which should be going up soon.